Yeah, we're thinking it wants a bit of weight on the front now to hold the front down on the pin. This tractor's hitch also sits really high because of the bigger wheels, so it would sit lower down on the John Deere, and it would probably sit even lower down on, well, it definitely would sit even lower down on the International. But yeah, we're actually really pleased. He's made a real good job of that. So what you can do is you can put the pin on top of there, drop a pin through it, lift your arms right up, which he's just done, but I didn't have my camera out quick enough, and it lifts it, well, it's a couple of inches clear of the floor, isn't it? Yeah. Onto the wheels, so yeah, we're really pleased. And what he's welded on the back is all going to add extra weight to it, as well as fixing the water leaks, so they're both completely full of water. So yeah, I think it would make a good roll of that. Really, on a budget. The only thing we haven't taken into account is side impact. If someone drives into the side of him, they might snap off. Or bend. But yeah, pretty chuffed. Dan's just changed the 4 skids that were completely worn out on that mower. Probably all wanted changing really, but I got the shock of my life when I come to order them, the price of them. So hopefully it'll get us through this year. And then there's the main one on the bottom, and then 2 others. We've done half of them. Maybe next year we'll splash out and do the other half. We'll see how the mower gets on this year. Just brought this digger up. We've just mucked out the second chicken shed because there was barely anything there at all, only a couple of buckets. It's actually the first shed, but the second one that we've washed out, and it's the one that only had hens in it for like 10 days. So I'm going to get on hopefully and get that washed and put back as quickly as possible and disinfected. In the meantime, I brought the digger up here, so Dan's going to have a look at that idler bearing and find out what size bearing we need to order. It's missing a load of fuses as well. The speed tracking stopped working. I think it needs the fuse box looking at. So yeah, we've had just looked at my rain gauge. We've had 7.5 mil of rain over the last 2 days, according to that rain gauge, which is not very accurate. I'd say maybe we've had a touch more than that. We need to move the rain gauge. It's right under a load of trees. Well, it's not directly under trees, but it would be if the wind's blowing. So we need to move it really and put it either on here or on the building down there, so that it's a bit more accurate. But yeah, it's done a good job, but it's not wet the fields enough to be able to go rolling. Dan thinks we should go rolling, but I just had a walk across that field and it's as hard as nails still, so it'd be a waste of time. But there's quite a few more showers in the forecast. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow and then more showers after, so we'll give it a bit longer. In the meantime, I'm just going to try and crack on with these chickens. Just been and delivered some silage this morning, sold a couple of my silage bales, so that's good. And the chap might want the rest of the pile, so that's another job done. So yeah, I'm just slowly ticking things off. Looks like the bearing's been gone for quite a while. It's going to take a fair bit of building back up that, unless we buy or make a new pin.
Can't quite figure out what diameter it was actually originally supposed to be.
It's a fair bit smaller than it started off in life, I think. So that explains why it's been crunching and grinding. I thought it was something to do with the gearbox, but it must have just been that bearing, which I suppose is a good thing. Or 2 bearings, there should be one either side, shouldn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the bearings are completely non-existent.
Non-existent indeed.
Oh well. That's whether the inside of this is salvageable. It's still got the bearing casing in, so as long as the bearings will sit tight, it should be alright, shouldn't it?
Well, they haven't moved yet.
Well, we'll just maybe price up, see how much a new pin is before you set about making one for 3 days. Well, look at this for a bit of engineering. So yesterday Dan and Mark set about trying to sort this digger out. This is the old pin, and you can see it's fairly worn out where the bearings have been gone for quite a while. I was hoping he'd maybe be able to build this back up with weld, lave it round again and reuse this pin, because this pin alone is like 120 quid without the bearings or the bearing seals. So, but Dan put it in the lathe and he said it's a bit bent, and it does look a little bit bent. So he found another pin that was from one of these smaller idlers that go in the middle of the tracks, because we changed all those last year and they came with new pins, so he's been using the old pins for various different lathing jobs. Anyway, so he managed to take a pin and turn it down, because it had a threaded end on here, he chopped that off and basically made an identical pin to what he needed, a replacement of these. The hardest part, I think, was drilling the holes. They had to drill 2 new holes in it for the punches to go in. But they seem to have managed it, and they've got 2 new bearings in, which we just by chance had in stock. And then Dan's 3D printed a plastic seal, because this has like a cap which has like it's like a metal. I mean, we don't really know exactly what it's like, but because it's pretty destroyed. But the seal is basically to keep all the mud and crap from getting into your bearing. So I think he priced them up and they're like 30 quid each. So he said, oh, I might be able to 3D print one. So he printed that last night. It's just made out of solid plastic and he's just banged it in, and oh, what a neat job that's done. I'm quite keen to see how long it lasts. So he set about printing the next one, because we need one for the other side as well. And then we can get this digger back together, so it just sits in there and stops any crap being able to get into your bearing. So what we got to do, they've just got to put these back on, press them back on, put the roll pins back in, and then we should have the digger back up and running. And it should track a load better, because it's not been tracking very well, obviously, and now we know why. Yeah, there's been a fair bit of resistance, so it should be 100 times better with 2 new bearings in. So, and then we want to crack on and get back onto the mucking out. So yeah, Dan and Mark had quite a good day yesterday in the workshop. They got way more done than what I thought they would. I'm just about to go and set up for some new calves to come, to make another pen. So I'm going to take a hay feeder and some hurdles and stuff. We're going to try and set about moving one of the milk feeders to the other side of the wall, make a new pen, and then just start slowly buying some more calves in. At first I'm just going to try and get them off my friends, so I know where they've come from, because we've had quite a lot of trouble with the last bunch. So I think maybe getting them from where I know where they've come from, all from one place, is maybe an idea. The only problem is that you'll end up with a massive range in ages in your lot, which is a bit annoying, but we'll see how it pans out. Go and see if we can make a pen. Anyway, that's the first job, and see if we can get this milk machine moved. I've got to drill through the wall, so let's go and get a new drill bit yesterday. Well, the digger's tracking lovely. Dan's plastic bushes are working a treat. This is the plastic bush here that he's printed. It seems to be doing the trick. It's tracking along really well. So I've got this shed all mucked out and disinfected, and we've limed the area where it's been sat, because it's just sat on soil. So it's all ready to be put back into place. So we want to get it put back before it rains too much on all that lime. Grass is growing really well. This is where we washed it out last time. You can see where we washed it and where we didn't wash it. So this should be a straightforward operation. Probably not going to film it all because there's lots of different videos of us moving this shed back in and out, so you probably don't need to see it. Well, we're just setting up a second pen for potentially, well, hopefully buying another bunch of cars to go in this part of the shed, which is empty. So that's what we've been doing today. This bunch have finally settled down. Since the last two that we had that were very poorly, that the vet came to see, we haven't had any more trouble, and they all seem to be drinking fine. So hopefully that'll be the end of the problems, but I doubt it will be. But anyway, we've taken one of the stalls out and put it this side of the wall because we think they'll be all right now. They reckon that they can feed 25 calves each stall, and I think there's only 26 in here now, so they should be all right as long as it doesn't turn itself off in the middle of the night, and then they all have to queue up. So we've got this in place, which I haven't got the right drill bit yet again to fasten it down, but we've drilled a hole through the wall, we've brought all the pipes through, electric, everything. We've sorted the waste out. We just need to get an adapter first thing in the morning to plumb that up. Dan's just cut one of these cubicles out because there wasn't enough room for a calf to be able to. They'd probably get in it all right, but when they backed out, they'd back right into the cubicle, and it'd just be a bit annoying. We don't want to put them off coming in and out. So he's cut that cubicle out. And then I've just found an old header tank above the old dairy, which we've set up as a water trough, which I think will be alright actually, because it slots underneath that cubicle, so they shouldn't be able to kick it and knock it about. Might fasten it to it, maybe. So we've just plumbed all that in, tidied this pipe work up a bit better. And then yeah, the other day I brought a trough, and my last spare trough from my car shed at home, and it was a bit tight, but just about fitted in this passageway, and I've got a hurdle each side, so this is all blocked off ready. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll get a couple more cars. I'm getting a couple off my friend, hopefully, and then we'll just try and build up a bunch of 20 or so in this shed to follow on from them, because these have been here for over a month now, so within another month they'll probably be weaned, and then ideally, if we can, we want to move these home into our weaned calf shed, and then start off with a new batch in here. But we were just thinking of trying to make use of the far side passage. We don't know whether we need to have a word with the landlords really and see what they say, but my idea at the moment is, because there's plenty of cubicles, plenty of space, but there's nowhere to feed, and if you put a trough or a ring feeder in the end, it means that only, say if you put a bunch of 20 or 25, I mean really you could probably get more, but even if you only had 25 in here, only half of them are going to be able to get around the feeder at once, and also you wouldn't be able to give them any corn, whereas I quite like to be able to keep feeding corn if I wanted to, which means you need enough feed space for them all to eat. So the idea that we had was to maybe ask whether we can lower these walls down in maybe three bays would give you enough
space for you can stand about, I think if they're 15-foot bays, you can stand 8 or 9 youngish cattle in each bay comfortably. So 3 bays would give you like enough for a bunch of 25. So if we lowered the wall down to to about here, and then put a feed barrier over the top and just weld some brackets on, and then we could just put silage out along here on this concrete, and then if you wanted to feed them corn, you can just bag it out, pour it out in a bag. And you could probably even use one of these sheds. There's a perfect shed for putting an IBC of corn, or corn or barley or whatever, and then just literally bucket it, put it out, and then we'll be near enough using the entire shed, making use of it. So this sort of the age animal that we'd want here is something that's just eating silage. So the bunch that we've got in the warehouse at home that are now eating silage, and they're on corn twice a day, that sort of age, so they're about 3 or 4 months old, that would be the age we'd want, and we'd probably just roll straw out and just do what we've done, just fill it with straw, and obviously they'd have to stand in the cubicles to eat, but we'd have to take the cubicles out where the feed barrier comes out. But again, it all depends with what they say. Just an idea of utilising the shed. Because, I mean, the other way is you get more stalls, but I don't know how you would get another stall over there really without having pipes everywhere. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Just been and picked up 4 calves from my friend's farm, all from the same farm, all heifers, 3 Angus and a Hereford. So yeah, we just literally unloaded them from the trailer and tied the gates up. So they're just settling in. This one's already drunk. I tagged it in the feeder just because that's where I caught it, and it started drinking straight away, and it's had a full feed. So I think that one was on like a twice a day feeding on a bucket, and so were the other 2 Angus, but the Hereford was on like a heat wave ad lib. So the Hereford will probably be the last one to come and, well, I don't know actually, we'll see. It will be the least hungry, but it will be the most used to going and helping itself from a teat, so we'll see. But yeah, this one's already had a drink, so we've tagged them all anyway. We'll leave them now till probably either later on today or tomorrow morning, and then make sure they've had a feed. So yeah, nice bunch. Good start to the next pen. We got it finished off this morning. Went and got some the right drill bit and screwed it down. So yeah, just try and get 20 or so in this pen next is the next job. And then yeah, these ones look considerably bigger now. You've got some smaller ones to compare them to. They've come on really well. It's just a shame we lost so many, but it is what it is. Considering they've come from a massive market from all different farms all over the place, I think they've done all right. And they're just starting to eat a decent amount of corn. So the other thing we did last night was we decided to run the water. We had the water pipe just on the floor. We just had it lying on the floor round here, and we thought, well, seeing as we're going to be going in and out of that pen, it'd be better if the water pipe was out the way. So we ran it through the old parlour building and hooked it onto that cable that's running across, just wrapped it round, put it in the roof so it's right out of the way now. Just tidy a job. It'll make it easier when we come to move them out as well. Just one less to worry about. We've only got this waste pipe to step over now, but there's no way of avoiding that really, because it's got to find its way to that drain. So
We're just back on this field next to our yard. That's our yard over there. And we've been waiting for some wetter weather to try and get on here and roll it. Dan harrowed it about 2 weeks ago. But it's rough as hell. It's poached to death. I'm bouncing around all over the place in this tractor. Our plan was to harrow it and then wait for some rain and then roll it, and hopefully roll it flat, but we've had a bit of rain last week, maybe about 10 mil altogether, and it's done absolutely nothing. It's nowhere near enough rain to make this field soft. It's just like concrete. So we've just been out, me and Dan have done a harrowing job for someone on some poached ground, and what we found was that if you harrow over it sort of probably about 10 times, because it was only a little half-acre field, we just kept harrowing over and over and over it, and in the end it did actually go flat, and then when Dan rolled it, it made a really lovely job. So we've come back thinking it's kind of really what we're going to have to do in here, is just keep harrowing it, because it's never gonna, I don't think we're ever going to have it dry enough to get it flat with the roller, wet enough, sorry, looking at the forecast. So I'm just going over it again. I don't know whether Dan's going to come and take over from me. He's just run the roller. I don't know what he's doing now. He's stopped. Maybe he's changing the hitch over on the roller. I don't know. I'm going to go have a look, see what the roller's doing when Dan gets going, and then we'll make a decision whether to keep going with the roller or wait. We've forecasted quite a lot of rain tomorrow, so I think generally I'm thinking that it's probably better to wait till after the rain tomorrow before we try and roll it all. It's a lot less time consuming to harrow it than roll it, so I'd be tempted to go over it once more with the harrows than go over it all with a roller twice, but we'll see. The problem is that if we leave it as it is, when we come in here to mow it, it's going to be rough on the mower, it's going to be rough, well, it's going to be very rough on the tedder and on the rake with the tiny wheels. It's just going to absolutely shatter the bearings to death. And then again, it's going to be really rough on the baler. So if we don't do something, it's just not going to be, we're not going to be able to take a crop off it without doing loads of damage to machinery. So for the sake of going over it again a couple of times with the chain harrows, I think it would be worth it really in the long run. But there you are, it's bringing up another load of dead grass. It's sort of, Dan brought up a load of dead grass when he did it, and then it's all rotted away, and now it's bringing another load. To be fair, it's actually not done a bad job, the roller just here. It's fairly flattened it off. I don't know why he stopped actually, I thought he'd keep going. But he's dropped the roller off anyways. I've dropped the harrows off. He's going to finish harrowing it all for a second pass. No, he has rolled up to here actually. But yeah, I think he probably stopped because the roller was probably bouncing a bit. I did say to him it'd probably be better to roll it tomorrow, because we're supposed to get a fair dollop of rain tonight, but looking at the sky, I wouldn't be surprised if we'd miss it. But yeah, he's just gonna whiz over it again with the harrows. I've no idea whether it's doing anything. It's certainly ripping up a lot of dead grass, which won't be doing any harm, but whether it's leveling the ground off, it's just sort of scorching it a bit like that. But whether that'll help when he comes to roll it, whether it'll roll off a bit flatter just because it's been knocked by the harrows, I don't know. I think if you harrowed over it 20 times, you'd get it somewhere near flat, but doing it twice, it's hard to see whether you're actually making any progress. But still, we'll leave Dan to it and go and
I think I'm going to go do a bit of pressure washing to just try and keep that job going. It's a job to know how to prioritise things really. I really want to get the pressure washing boxed off, but at the same time I'd love to get a sprinkle of muck put across all of this ground, because it's going to be really, really hungry. And because the grass is so slow coming, you could actually get on it and spread muck, and then we could roll it in and it wouldn't do any harm at all, whereas everywhere else I've got is gone way past the point of spreading muck because there's that much grass. In fact, there's some fields not far off wanting to be cut. So well, Dan's just having a look at his wrapper because he was saying last year it was struggling to get the arms going. Sometimes you'd have to get out and give him a push to get him going. Sometimes. Or I think it got to the point where almost every bale he was. And it's just been it's just finally sort of got to the top of our list. So he's just been and taken the lid off this top gearbox and found that everything is pretty much knackered. Both cogs are very worn out, there's no oil in it whatsoever, and this bearing is completely knackered, and it's just full of iron filings. Oil, I'm guessing, should be up here, but it doesn't look like there's been any oil in it for a while, so we probably should have checked it last year. But I think it was probably pretty damaged by then anyway. So at the very least it's going to be a bearing, 2 cogs, but there's also a lot of play in between the arms and the shaft itself, so whether there's like a keyway worn out or something, don't know. Dan's just made it to this field. He's gone and got the heavier roller today because the roller that we've welded the wheels on, or Dan's welded the wheels on, that's full of water, just doesn't seem heavy enough. We went and did a job last night for someone and it was rattling around, and then we came back here in the evening. Dan started rolling the far field with it and he said it was just bouncing. It was barely doing any work, any good. But the problem is that we've got until, well, we had 10 mil of rain not last night, the night before, and there's no rain really in the forecast now for the next 2 weeks, so this ground is not going to get any wetter than it is now, or it was yesterday. So we decided we're just going to have to roll it because it's just poached to death. So he came back last night and it looks like one of the bearings on one side's lost a load of the balls out of it, so I said sod it, go and pick up the heavy roller. This is full of concrete, so it's quite a bit heavier, and use that instead. So he's been and dragged it all the way back down the road, and says it's making a slightly better job, but it's still not exactly doing a lot. I've spread some muck on here, only just a sprinkle of like a mix of box muck, straw muck from the cows, and a little bit of chicken muck mixed in. I did about 6 or 7 loads last night, and then I've done another load or 2 this morning, and I've done all of this up to the pole, so I've done sort of nearly half the field, and I'm just putting just a light sprinkle on just because I can really. There's no grass, so it's not going to do any harm, and this field's just desperate for some food, but I haven't got any more fertiliser, and it sounds as though even if I ordered some fertiliser I wouldn't get it for about 2 months, so I thought, well, I might as well use the stuff I've got sat in the yard. So I'm going to go and carry on now and do another couple of loads, and then the plan is for Dan to roll it in afterwards, but it's just sticking to the roller a bit. Ideally what you want is a shower of rain on your muck, and then for it to dry out, and then when you come to roll it in, it presses it all in lovely. But if you roll it straight after you've spread, it tends to stick to the roller and then it flicks it off, and then you end up just making
you end up with it not being rolled in, it's still lying on the top, if you get what I mean. So we'll see. I don't know whether Dan's going to keep going with this or whether he's going to find the right gear. Whether he's going to carry on taking his wrapper apart, because we need to try and get that ready. Look how it's flicking it. Yeah, it's just flicking it a bit more than what I would like it to be. I think he might be better off just leaving it for a couple of hours to dry out. But look at this, how wet this is here. This has come since we had that 10 mil of rain. And this water sat, and there's a mole plough line there, which goes all the way down to that ditch. So, it doesn't look, and then there's another mole plough. Don't know, there's more, he's done one every couple of meters. Here's the other one. This is how I'm mixing it. This is, well, I'm trying to pick out the most rotted stuff of this. I think this is out of the calf shed. And then I'm going round with a digger and then chucking a couple of buckets of chicken muck on top. And it just helps to carry the chicken muck. The chicken muck's always very wet, so it tends to come out in big lumps and clumps. Unless you put something with it. The ideal thing is like horse shavings, but I haven't got any of them at the moment, so yeah, just mixing it sort of like, I don't know, 30-40% chicken muck and the rest cow muck, and then I'm just putting it on at a very, very light sprinkle, less than 10 tonnes to the acre, I would say. Although, I don't know, I've lost count how many loads I've put on now, and I don't seem to be making much progress, so maybe I'm putting more on than I think. But I was just spraying a field of rushes last night, and the just when I got home and realised the pump is like completely, don't know. Well, the pump, when we got home and parked it up, there was oily water dripping out of the pump. So I'm assuming that the diaphragm's gone in the pump. It was like coming out with a dipstick. And I still had half, and because I blew a pipe that had been rubbing on the back, I didn't even finish spraying my tank, so it was half full of spray. So we had to drain the tank out, so that it doesn't just pour all over the floor, so I've had to put it in an IBC, and then I'm assuming that there's some sort of a diaphragm somewhere in these, although we know absolutely nothing about them, and the company where I got this from don't seem to exist anymore, and there doesn't seem, it's a Tad Len is the name of the brand, and they don't seem to exist in this country anymore. So yeah, I think it's going to be a case of getting the actual diaphragm out and taking it to some sort of a pump or sprayer dealer and seeing if they can match it, which is a bit of a pain because I've still got quite a lot of spraying to do. But Dan and Mark got the gearbox off this wrapper and found that the bearings are completely knackered. This shaft is knackered because it's got great big cracks down it, and the crown and pinion are completely worn out, so it's basically a whole new gearbox job for the top. You can't buy the individual, well, we don't know, the dealers won't stock the individual parts, so it's a whole new gearbox for the top, but it will explain its faults. It was completely dry, didn't have any oil in it, and yeah, it's obviously been going wrong for quite a while by the looks. So yeah, everything's just going wrong, isn't it? Hopefully the hydraulic motor is still alright, this thing.
Yeah, that looks fine.
I was thinking it was this that would have gone wrong, but that would probably be more expensive, wouldn't it?
Probably.
So, happy days. Oh, Dan's bought himself a new welder at farm sale. What make is it? Lincoln. Lincoln, yeah. Lincoln are supposed to be quite good welders, aren't they? Yeah, it was in a farm sale. Dan's been mithering that he wants a new welder because our MIG welder just doesn't have enough power to weld anything over sort of like 2 mil thick. So for doing heavy duty stuff like what he's been doing, like making rollers and things, it's just nowhere near powerful enough. So he saw this in a farm sale down the road. Apparently it's been fully serviced. It's had like £200 worth of servicing done. It's got half a roll of wire in it. So yeah, we'll give it a go. We'll have to. It's 3-phase though, so we'll have to put. We have got. I'm pretty sure we have got 3-phase in this workshop. Oh, the lathe's 3-phase. Oh right. So we just need to put a plug somewhere, a 3-phase plug, and probably put a bit of a cable extension on it, so that we can take it right outside to use it. Because we rarely do any welding that's in here. To be honest, these days it's mostly outside. So he's just unscrewed the top, which was that piece. Just screws out the top. And then this is obviously the diaphragm. And that's obviously the problem, it's got a hole in it. So I'd have thought that one of them won't be that hard to source. If we just take that to a pump place or a sprayer place and see if they can match it. Can't be that rare, can it?
I don't think so. But,
it's just a certain diameter diaphragm, isn't it?
Part though, isn't it?
Mm.
Pretty fucked, actually. It's pretty knackered, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's lasted. I can't remember exactly when I got it. It could have been 7 or 8 years we've had this sprayer. In the first couple of years, it really only did about 20 acres or so each year. But the last couple of years, it's probably been doing a lot more than that. It's probably been doing over 100 acres every year, which still isn't a lot, is it? But probably more than 100 acres actually. But we got loads of spraying to do with it this time, so. Well, it's a couple of days later, and we found out now who stocks these diaphragms, and apparently there's a chap coming to bring us one tomorrow. So that's pretty good, and then hopefully we'll have the sprayer back up and running because we've got loads of spraying to do. Dan keeps finding more problems on the wrapper. He's found that one of these motors for the, I assume it's for the rollers, has got a bit of a leak. So I think it's a new seal, but it's not like the end of the road. We're going to get that gearbox ordered today. Because we're thinking that we could be mowing within a week. We've got some like Westwald's grass that's like up to your, well, between your knee and your waist in places, so it wants cutting. Dan's going to go off mole ploughing because he's decided he wants to go and mole plough that little triangle field where I dug the ditch out in the last video. So he's going to go and mole plough that, and then I think it wants harrowing and rolling, and eventually it wants spraying for the rushes. It wants spraying. It's still looking very brown. So that's what he's doing, and then I've been on a bit of a pressure washing marathon this last weekend. I've been trying to get the chicken sheds pressure washer. We've got all the mucking out done. The muck is all sheeted up and disinfected. So that's that done. I've just got to finish the power washing off, so I had a whole day of it yesterday. And I'm on the last shed. I'm halfway through the last shed, chicken shed. And
another burst pipe on the pressure washer yesterday. Because I'm using it so much, it's doing so much work, it feels like every time I come to use it, it blows a blooming pipe at the moment. But yeah, the end nearest the lance burst yesterday, so we had to get that fixed. But I'm just going to wash this out now. Oh, I need to bring that back door around actually, wash that as well. And then I'm most of the way through washing the inside of this. I've just got to go and wash all the feeders and all the innards before I can put them back in, and then we can drag it back and then it's job done. So yeah, making a little bit of progress finally. But yeah, the trouble that Dan's having is he's getting big clods of soil building up. Looks like he's finding bits of electric fence wire all over this thing. Look at that. Yeah, he's welded up his bars. I can't show you now because he's driven off, but he's welded up his bars so that he can use his ram to move the plate around. Because his theory was if he could lower it, if he could have the disc shallow, yeah, if you can push the disc down so that when it first goes into the ground it's already cutting the ground, hopefully he wouldn't get the build-up that he's getting of grass and roots. And he's also cut some teeth, 4 notches into the circular disc to try and catch the ground, to keep the disc cutter spinning and therefore cutting. And he sharpened it all. But to be honest, it looks like an absolute nightmare of a job. This does. He's losing his rag with it because the sward of turf is that thick. It doesn't stand a chance. So he's making a bit of a mess really. It's going to need to be thoroughly harrowed and levelled off. But needs must, because it needs something drastic doing with this field, because I think it's just been left for a long time and the rushes have just taken over. So it's all very well spraying the rushes, but we've got to try and get the field dry somehow. But my ditch seems to be trickling. Strangely, there's water running to there, and then it disappears and there's nothing here, and then there's water again. But where that's disappearing to, I don't know. You see what I mean? This water isn't moving, but it's running here. It's running to there and then just disappearing. Where's it going? So what he's doing is he's running along once, like he's just done, and just ripping the turf, and then he's going back over it again to try and get the mole ploughing deep. He says that's the only way of doing it. But he's welded up the bars and he's put some big notches in the disc here to try and keep it turning
and he's strengthened all this. He says it's made it better, but it hasn't. Instantly blocked up. And the disc, look at the disc spinning now. Wow, that's working. That's working lovely. Even with the pile of stuff he's dragging along. Yeah, I don't know, this organic grass is going to take a bit of working. And it is still organic yet, because I still haven't sprayed any of it, and I haven't put any. I don't think you can get all the fertiliser now, can you? So I think it's just going to end up being an organic crop. I've put muck on the other field nearest to us, the other side of that hedge. I've put some cow muck, chicken muck on it, because it looks the most hungry of all of them. Well, apart from this little field. This other field up here looks very, very green in comparison. Like there's less dead grass in this field, and it's already greened up, and it looks as though it's growing a bit, whereas in the field the other side of that hedge it's just brown. It's really, really slow coming. Bit of a disaster. Dan's been all the way out to Betsy Coed, which is an hour and a half. He nipped out on his motorbike today to go and pick up a new diaphragm for that sprayer. And he's got home, put it all back together again, put new oil in it, and we've just filled the sprayer back up, hoping to go and get a bit of spraying done tonight, because we're desperately behind on our weed control now. It's getting to the point where a lot of fields the grass has got too long, and not going to be able to spray it without squashing all the grass out. And then filled it up with spray, and it's still leaking just the same. So it's obviously not the diaphragm that's causing it, even though the diaphragm has definitely had a hole in it. It's not that's causing the problem, so there must be some other sort of seal or something in the pump which is letting the water from the tank get into the oil of the pump. So we're just having to drain the tank out again into an IBC, and then take the pump apart again and see what we can find. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get any parts without driving miles and miles to get them again tomorrow. That's if they have them. So we're going to go and do some dehorning instead. Go and see which cars need dehorning, because we've got some blues and some Herefords that might need doing. Well, we've just finished dehorning. There was 5, was it? Yeah. I think there was about 3 or 4 blues. Yeah, there must have been 4 blues and 1 Hereford. And then the rest are all Angus and all their polled Herefords. There's at least 2 or 3 polled Herefords in this group. So, yeah, apart from a little bit of a hiccup with the dehorner, it all went okay. We found that this inside this dehorner there's a tiny little pinprick sized nozzle, and it just the gas seemed to be coming out slower and slower. So we took the nozzle off and tried to just run it without the nozzle, and it was just like a big inferno, even with the pressure turned right down. So we put the nozzle back on, Dan tried to clean it out, and then after that it seemed fine then. But it just wasn't getting hot enough, and it was just taking forever to even just to burn through the hair. But anyway, I think we figured it out. Must have just been a tiny speck of something just blocking the nozzle. But yeah, so that's the job done. And then
My friend, where I got these 4 heifers from that are in this younger group, he's got another 3 heifers for me, so I'll go and get them in the next week or so, because they seem to be just a ridiculous price in the market. I went to the market last week and just couldn't get anywhere near them. The price was ridiculous. There was like Belgian blue calves, less than 2 months old, making over £1,000. It's just crazy. People fighting for them. So yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens in May. Hopefully we'll get some mowing done if we can get the wrapper back together. Hopefully we can get hold of the gearbox tomorrow. So get the wrapper back together and then we can start mowing with confidence. So yeah, we'll probably end this video here. It's the end of April. So thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.